for Salah and Captain Salah.
It's very tough. It's very tough to nitpick everything. Things not always goes your way, but yeah, I mean, this season is not turning out to be an easy one for most of us. And
Yeah,
I mean, very funny game week it was, to be honest. And I mean, what to say? Kanacho got a 14 pointer, Foden got 20 pointer, Palmer got 20 pointer, and I benched Palmer, and first of all, Saka didn't play, Haaland didn't play. That kind of got in a lot of auto subs for people, especially both defenders. Those who benched, I mean, they got points, as well as those if they benched Palmer or Canacho got points as well. So kind of compensated, sort of ish, for managers who, I mean, had Saka and Haaland, but for those who didn't have these two players, I mean, those who hauled, I mean, it was pretty much a very disheartening game week is what I would say the least. But with that being said, let's just throw it out of the way. Let's look at game week 32, which is right in front of us, and we have a couple of, I mean, probably the fixture of this week and some other interesting games. Before we go on to that, let's look at the transfer trends. Let's just talk about it briefly and pretty much again straightforward. Not anything surprising here. Players who have been consistently returning points over the last few weeks are at the top of ins, and the outs are obviously players who are injured or not in form. But I would quickly touch upon that. We see Bukayo Saka as the second most player who's been shipped out at the moment. What's the latest on him? Obviously, we did get some news that he trained pre the Luton game, but obviously he didn't, manage to get even a single minute. What's the latest on him?
so far, I think Arteta still kept it open. I didn't expect him to close it, but I do think Luton at home was an easier game to deal with. So I think it made sense for them to rest Saka. I expect them to start, Brighton away. It's not an easy place at all. So I think that's the reason Saka will play. But we don't have a lot of news because Arteta has not really leaked anything. I think Saka is training, so that is perhaps one of the reasons that we can go ahead with a safe assumption that he'll play. But a lot of people are, I think, planning a wild card in the weeks ahead or have planned a free hit in 34 when we have a double game week.
Yeah,
So I think that's the reason you can see people, playing around a bit, trying to attack things, which makes sense.
even I'm pretty much the same boat in terms of chip, like 34, free 35 wildcard. But who do you replace Saka with? That's a question, right? Because if you throw out a player like him, you have roughly about 8 point, let's say 8.7, 8.8, based on your values around. Who do you get in for that price bracket? I mean, I obviously, in my case, I have Son, I have Palmer, I have Foden, I have Salah. Maybe I could double up with maybe a Liverpool attacker. That's one thing, maybe like Luis Diaz. But still, I mean, if you're going to free hit in 34, you're going to get multiple players then. So who's the right pick maybe for the let's say next 2 weeks or so? Who do you think as a differential?
Yeah, this is something which is a bit tricky. Palmer is looking so hot right now on form, right? It's difficult to ignore him. Foden, I'm not very convinced with, to be honest. I know he scored a hat trick, and I think there are days where he'll give us a lot of points. Uh, you just have to accept it, but he is not exactly the guy that I'll replace Saka with, to be honest. So it depends on where you are upgrading, but if Haaland is looking a bit shaky, we don't have Watkins as well, right? He is injured, so we do have money in the bank now, and that makes it possible. So if there are people who don't have Sun, and you know that okay, Sun has a game week 35 double coming, and you want him long term, you can do it. But there are very few names I would sell Saka for, to be honest. Salah, Sun, and maybe Palmer if you're trying to reduce and bring money or rebalance your team. But very little names.
Yeah, that's the issue. And the one key thing that we did get earlier today was the fixture rescheduling was announced that Chelsea and Spurs both are going to be week in 35. So that's been confirmed, which was like somewhat around, we don't know which period they would slot it in, like Ben Crellin's ticker, to be fair, it did slot it in for 35. Obviously, he's a champion, he treated it right.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah. I mean, there is slight possibility of a triple game week, and that would have been fun, right? But thankfully, there is
slight
not. So that makes it more simple, at least for people to manage. Now that we know there are two double game weeks from 35, even if I don't have these players, till 34, 35, they will be my priority, knowing that they have two doubles coming in 3 weeks.
All right. That being done, let's look at this fantasy challenge, FPL challenge. And this week we have a theme called as the Red Rivalry. Obviously, United and Liverpool players get double points. But the one for next week is very, very odd. It's like, I think, -8 and -5 for red and yellow. We'll look at that later, but there's a joke. I don't know why they're doing that. But anyways, Red Rivalry, let's look at your team and how many players you have. I think I've gone with 5 players or 6, 7. Oh, we
Yeah.
filled half your team.
So it's
It's
five
Garnacho on
is
the
the
bench.
limit. Five is the
Yeah,
limit. I've actually moved Garnacho and I put Jesus on bench because I'm still unclear about the benching rules. I tried to put Palmer in for Saka last week and it just didn't happen. I saw it late. Like what the hell? So at least for now, I put Garnacho in. I put Jesus out. More or less every player looks red except Palmer. Right, but five is the limit, so I've gone for five from Liverpool. Bradley, Van Dijk, Salah and Diaz and Darwin up front. That's what I've done. And for United, I've gone for Holland. I've gone for Garnacho and I've gone for Onana. Kept it for three players as of now. Right. I don't think I want to go
yeah. I
five
think
for
yeah,
United.
these are the pretty. I mean, the only other picks you would go. I mean, Garnacho is the one, and you might go for someone like Bruno if you want, and then Hoylund. Not sure about the defense. Maybe Onana, if he does few saves here and there, he might get
Yeah,
a
yeah.
few. I'm not
That
really
that's
getting.
the hope.
I'm not. I'm not really getting sucked into this. I mean, I don't know. The only way you'll get benefited is both. It ends in a goalless draw is when the
Mm,
defenders will get double points and the
mm.
attackers. I mean, 6 points is max what they're going to get. But you're going to look at more of this as an offensive game. So I don't know. Let's see what happens. I don't have faith in United at this point. Very very surprising game that we had against Chelsea. It's a roller coaster game, and I don't know what's going to happen. Uh, Liverpool, it's unlike the FA Cup game. They have a lot at stake at this point. They cannot
Yeah.
afford to slip up here. I think if they draw this game or if they lose, they're just going to let in Arsenal and City, kind of throw them off. So don't think that's going to happen. Either we are going to get smacked at home, or we are going to just do the repeat the same and just upset Liverpool. So here's mine. I'm not getting sucked into that red rivalry. As I said, I just have like 4 players playing. That's the low for the sake of picking someone. I've done that. Garnacho, Darwin, and Salah have gone with, and the remaining
Kerr
odd
is back.
teams have. Yeah, Kele. Yeah, sorry, that's what. The remaining all players who have favorable fixtures is who have gone with. I still have mind you 5 in the bank with this team. I don't know what to do. I'm not bothered at this point. All right. So let's look at the fixtures here, and the ticker is changed. We have a couple of interesting games this week in terms of FPL. Obviously, United against Liverpool is one, but a lot of tasty fixtures in terms of the typical template informed players who are playing. They have good favorable fixtures, starting with Palace against Man City. That's an early kickoff, and a pokey team of Man City is Crystal Palace, but generally that's Etihad and not away.
Yeah.
We don't know how it's a bogey team, right? We've seen Pep get annoyed with them, but it's typically the old way. But we don't know how Glasner is going to set them up and play. It's going to be interesting. And few other interesting games on Saturday. Obviously, Luton against Bournemouth, Brighton against Arsenal. Uh, Luton at home have been good in terms of offensive, the way they play. So it might be an open end-to-end game. And Brighton against Arsenal, we know Brighton how they're going to play. And Arsenal, I don't need to speak a lot about them. And what are the games that are on Saturday that are interesting? I mean, Fulham, Newcastle, Fulham are playing at home.
Fulham are
That's one
such
thing.
a interesting team, right? We were talking a lot about them last week, and they had extremely poor performance. I don't think I've seen them play this
It's,
poor
it's
since such a long
typical.
time. And Forest were looking so good. It was like, they're playing like they were at Arsenal or something. Uh, but
That's the problem. That's the problem with them. And if you see, right, on Sunday games, right, obviously keeping aside the United Liverpool game, Chelsea are going away, and on paper this should be like a easy game for Chelsea, but it's not going to be. I feel. I mean, Sheffield are just going to sit back. Typically, this is going to annoy Chelsea, and Chelsea defensively are also not that great. So that's going to be a good game, but we don't know whether Chelsea is just going to go and just hammer them, or it's going to be a tight, boring game where someone just manages to scrape it. Probably that's Chelsea, and obviously a Spurs against Forest. No going back, and you know how what kind of a manager Nuno is, and this is going to be. I think it's not going to be a boring game. It's going to be an open game.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I think with the wood magic might come out alive again, but I do think, especially with the way they played against West Ham, and would be extremely pissed. He was pissed as well. You could see, and I think that's the reason they would. Ideally, they should get it through, right? But you never know with such games. Nuno generally likes playing against these kind of teams. Like you pointed out, his history has been such in Premier League, and I think he has the right set of players as well in Nottingham Forest. Right, he has pacey wingers, and he has a tall striker to put the ball into the net. Typical players that he generally likes to have in his team.
Now, keeping these fixtures in mind, we have this obviously this clean sheet and goals, or that's this prediction put up at Dr. Field, and obviously we can see a couple of interesting numbers that are that City have the highest odds of possibly keeping a clean sheet, followed by Arsenal. I can see Arsenal, Chelsea, and Spurs. You think Arsenal? I don't think right. Brighton against Arsenal is going to be like a 1-0 Arsenal nil-nil game. Do you expect? I don't think so.
Nah, no, it's away is going to be difficult. I think at home we almost took a clean sheet from them. We really dominated them at home, but away, I think it will be very difficult to take a clean sheet in this fixture. I don't think any of the teams, even City, they just don't take clean sheets. And Chelsea, I have like zero confidence in taking clean sheets. Right, so I don't think this is a very good game week for a defender, to be honest. For example, Luton versus Bournemouth. I have two defenders in that match. I just hope they are somehow involved in scoring, especially if you have Doughty, right? You hope that he gets involved on the attacking side of things because they'll concede
Hmm.
for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, bearing aside these, I mean, template teams, I mean, there are a lot of managers who look to wildcard in 35, so they will basically be, dead ending their teams. I mean, this 32, 33, any free hit is in picture, then again, basically 2 weeks. So who do you think, like, I mean, based on points for maybe short term 2 week, if we can take a look at this particular game, we can get a ticker also for 33 again, the fixtures.
Yeah, I think we'll take a look at the fixture ticker, and that would give us some idea as to where we can go. Right. Unfortunately, oh, okay. I think
Okay,
Aditya is.
you can carry on.
Sure,
My
sure, sure.
Yeah.
Uh, Unfortunately, if you look at the ticker now, right, Bournemouth seem to be on a good
Hello,
run, and with them
Eddie.
having Aditya, you are
Third
not on
floor.
mute.
Third floor. Tower 3, third floor.
Aditya, you're not on mute.
Okay. Something
Cool.
went wrong. Can you
So
hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Some issue with
I think
my
your camera is
mic.
down currently. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
perfect. Cool. So I was talking about Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth look good as an interesting option. They are on a good run of form. And I won't be even surprised if Iriola wins the Manager of the Month. This award, he's already nominated for it, and he's playing really well. And on top of it, if you look at fixtures from now on, Chelsea attack does look good. After now they have Sheffield, they have Everton, right? For two matches, if you're looking at two-match punt, I think decent. We can think of a double up, but where do you go? Who's the other person from apart from Palmer?
Hmm.
That's where the issue is, right? Everton similarly have decent fixtures. They have Burnley at home this week. Do you go, DCL? He did score a penalty last week, but he's just not looked convincing. Do you punt out a Dwight McNeil, midfielder, all those sort of things? Very limited
But the
chances, but
issue is that some of the names are not that convincing enough, right?
not
I
like
mean, the Chelsea, as you said, right? I saw a lot of managers, those who wildcard in 30, just to differentiate, they went for Nico Jackson and AJ, and it's not turning out to be that great so far. And those who went with someone like Isaac and all are, just on a different level at this point.
correct, correct. That's true. Newcastle do look good. Gordon is still out, right? S- So,
I think it was he got a double yellow, right? So I think he should be back, or is it like a two-match ban? No, I think he should be back.
perfect. If Gordon is back, I think Gordon is a good option. Else, even Harvey Barnes, if he's fit, I would love to take a punt on him. They have Fulham away, Tottenham home, Crystal Palace away, Sheffield home, Burnley away. I think they have a good run of fixtures now, right? One team perhaps to punt at would be, this Nottingham Forest. I took you out of Wood, starting possibility. But do you think Wood is a long term, mid-term kind of an option now?
Yeah, I mean, as a third striker, purely
Yeah,
based on how your team is going to be set up.
okay,
So
okay.
the only disadvantage is they don't have doubles and all. That's kind of putting people off. I mean, obviously Muniz even doesn't have a double, neither Wood does. But it's only Mateta out of that under 5 million priced, forwards that have a double.
Yeah, that
So
Wolves at home is very tasty for me. If you look at Game Week 33, they have Wolves at home. I feel like there's good amount of
again, Nuno playing one of his former.
yeah, exactly. The That's something I would, even if you don't go Wood, I think players like Elanga or MGW, right? They are good options, right? Especially Elanga, I feel he's always on the lookout to give assist or something, right? And these games are kind of more suited for him to be able to reach the end point. I think he could have even scored one or more goals against Fulham. He missed those opportunities, but he was there at the right position, right? So. Uh, Apart from that, I don't see any. I think Newcastle, Forest, these are perhaps looking to me as some sort of differential teams we can target. But other than that, short term, really short term, I'm not convinced, anywhere else. And Bournemouth, obviously. Right,
Yeah, I mean, from Newcastle, I think Harvey Barnes would be the name to player to pick if you want a differential. I mean, we did see him score a brace and then managed to get a sort of 5 pointer last game week. So I think he should play. And as you say, Bournemouth, I think if you don't want Solanke, I mean, Semenyo is the only guy whenever I watch Bournemouth play, he's the only guy who always looks a bit threatening from the side, and so that's the only player I see. And as you said, I think Gibbs White, Lanka, and all. Forest are a team that you don't know when they're going to just go and surprise you. But that's the thing, right? These players, I mean, some of the names are a bit tricky to pick. As you said, Dwight McLean or from Everton and from Chelsea, we've not managed to find the other option. So it's trying to get a bit difficult. But other than that, I think only sort of convincing name is Harvey Barnes for me, and that's a differential at that price bracket as well as his selection at this point.
true.
Okay, what is the next thing? Who doubles? But basically, sort of confirmation is that Spurs and Chelsea are now confirmed to double in 35. So I mean, as expected, there's not really a lot to talk here. And I do have double Spurs and double Chelsea, so
I agree.
Yeah, already. Not even wildcard, press the
Who's
wildcard button.
who's there apart from Palmer for you?
I have Gusto.
Gusto. Yeah.
Yeah, so I honestly don't see any other player from Chelsea other than them. I mean, you can take some punt based on someone who's probably nailed to play at that point. I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe someone like a Gallagher, or I don't know if Modric is going to play or not. It's just an outside shot if you want to take to play something different. But the only team that you look to get different player is maybe from Spurs. I mean, everybody's going to go for Son, and then one of Poro or Udogi, and then the other player is going to be Madison or Richarlison or Brennan Johnson. So I always like Brennan Johnson whenever he's played so far under Ange, and he's always looked so offensive, so sharp, obviously able to dribble, pace. Last week we did have someone question
Yeah,
about
yeah,
Brian Johnson, and I did say if he's certain to play also, even you should just go and get him
yeah.
in. So that's the only problem. Like some games we see Ange picking Kulusevski, and it just kind of puts me off.
But Richarlison is out at least for this week. It's
He's still
confirmed
out.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that at least
Yes.
gives you one more, place to punt. And like we were speaking even last week, he's a really, really good punt for sure.
Okay. So where do we go from here? We look at our teams now because you just come up right to the end, and so I think a ticket below will change in some time.
Yeah,
So yes,
this
okay, I'll let you walk into
yeah,
your
this is
team.
my bust team. I've not made a transfer yet. I used my two transfers last week, so I want transfer. I'm I have a bit of a mind to do my wildcard next week. I'm not sure yet, but if I do it, ideally I should make my transfer, single transfer this week. So I'm still in two minds where to go, what to make. If I get a bit of Saka news, maybe I'll make changes for him. Haaland is interesting. He scored the single goal for them, I think, last season. So maybe not sell him, but the issue is, who's the alternative if you sell Haaland today, right? Uh, that's the reason I'm struggling to make my transfers this week. It just feels like, this is a good team to wildcard out of, and I've successfully managed to reach a point where it looks, very wildcardable.
A lot of dead wood that needs to be thrown out,
Yeah.
especially I mean, Areola is out. Maguire, you don't want him unless you're going to maybe look at a pick for him as a double KP option. I don't see United's defense keeping a clean sheet. Maybe one clean sheet for the remainder of the season if by fluke something happens. But until that, I don't see that even the foreseeable future. A lot of players that you want to remove. So yeah, I mean it makes sense to wildcard in 33, and since you don't have a free hit, structure your team in such a way that you can just see out the remainder of the season.
Yeah, bench push 34 and then see, move on from there.
Bench push 34 is also a good week, but the issue is the FA Cup games, and you don't know how much that's going to impact on some of the players, right? Play
Mm.
later.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this is my team at the moment. I am not sure what to do. I mean, just roll my transfer. Just quickly, who's your captaincy on Salah? He's on Salah, and
I might go Sun. I feel like the mass template captains are just not working for me anymore. I feel like next 5 or 6 weeks, let me just start trying for differential captain. I've just not tried for differential captain for some time now, so I might do Sun.
yeah, I mean, my captaincy armband was on Sun. So today, as soon as we saw Gameweek 32, it's properly made the draft, the first team, and the armband just moved. It's irrespective of how we played and all. There's a lot of stake for Liverpool, so they will play well. We are crap defensively. We're just going to go open. It's a home game. We're not going to sit back and take a point. We have to go and play. Pride is at stake at this point. And for them, there's a lot. They need to win. And I see always Salah troubling United at Old Trafford. And post that trauma of not captaining him and going for Havertz, was it against Norwich? That the trauma I'll never forget. So it's like keep the team support bias aside.
Hmm.
see based on form, fixtures, and all the things, and get it. It's Salah. But you have very good standard options this week. You have Salah, you have Son, you have Palmer. Even Foden is not a bad option, but it's just four options. I think Salah is top, followed by Son, then followed by Palmer, and then Foden for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Alrighty. So if someone is watching live on Twitter, I don't think you'll be able to type in the chat. You'll have to tag us. Those who are watching it on YouTube, just drop us if you have any other questions or you want to talk about anything. Meanwhile, we are actually done with the tech as well as a short stream here.
Yeah, it's very quick turnarounds, right? Just week after week, week after week. When is 33? Don't tell me 33 is
Thir-
a midweek.
No, no, 33 is the next weekend because we have the European games, right? Champions League and
Perfect,
all.
perfect. Yeah, so we get a bit of a break, a bit of a breather before we look at 33. And 33, I think can be interesting. Right? I might do a
You'll
wildcard
be on
if
wild card, so
yeah,
that's
if
going to be
I'm
the
on
best
wildcard,
weekend.
I'll have a wildcard template at least.
Not if, I think you have to wild card.
Yeah, looking at
Sort
my
of.
team, I have to wildcard.
Okay, those who will watch the stream later, I mean,
Yes.
since we are still way before 33 stat line, we're just like sort of a day away. I mean, just press the subscribe button and drop a like. Okay, put your comments. Any feedback would be appreciated. We took a small break in between, but we're back now till the end of the season. And I mean, this season so far has been a roller coaster for both of us. I mean, Sankalp is kind of struggling. It's been a very what do you say? He got a curveball this season, and things didn't go the way it had to.
Yeah.
And even I'm kind of, I don't know where I'm ranked, maybe around 300ish. I'm somewhere around 340k. So my aim is to finish around, realistically, even if I touch 100k and below is enough. It's because the points gap are so tight. I mean, like uh, 5 pointer is like hardly 40-50k difference. So it's getting very tough, and the template is kind of returning rather than the differentials. So sort of, except the captaincy, the other template picks are giving points. All right, I think with that we can wrap up this particular stream. We, as I said before, we'll be back for next week, game week 33. We'll see how 32 goes, especially with the Saga, you know, causes havoc at Old Trafford. Palmer continues his run. Son manages to get some points. Foden, continues his form. Whether Haaland starts scoring again, or we'll see someone else being the top scorer for this particular game week in FPL. And we'll see whether the red rivalry in FPL challenge actually turns out to be good. Till then, have a great game week 32, and we'll be back next week.